Hello from AJ Educational Academy. So as we were doing important questions from every chapter for 10th class mathematics, and we completed real numbers first video wherein we discussed about logarithms, few important questions from logs, and now another set of important questions from this chapter is questions related to questions proving irrational. So now in this exercise, it is actually as per textbook, it is exercise number 1.4, and in 1.4 there are a few questions including examples. I've taken all of that. So all of the questions if we take all the questions from that exercise, we can categorize into three types: first type, second type, and third type. In the first type, the questions are root 3 plus root 5, root 2 plus root 3, root p plus root q. By looking at the three examples, you can identify why did I put all of the questions in that category. So in this type of questions, two numbers are there, and for both the numbers root is there. Two numbers and two roots. In the second type, one root, one normal number, one root, one normal number, one root, one normal number, right? So this is the second type of question. In this third type of question, it is quite different. So these two are most similar. So now we can expect questions from mostly from this side, but then I'll make you guys do all the questions. This most of the students will feel difficult because more than maths, it looks like science, I mean English, because the content which you have here in this problem, that is not completely related to maths. You have to just know the concept and how to solve these questions. So just hold your breath till I complete first problem. For the first problem, you have to pay complete attention. Once we complete the first problem, without any effort, you can easily solve all the remaining problems. So first problem that we are going to do is root 3 plus root 5. Prove root 3 plus root 5 as irrational. Right? How do we do that? Let us check. Root 3 plus root 5 irrational. First of all, you have to understand what is irrational and what is rational number. Irrational number, we can define it as two ways. Like if I have to tell the definition of irrational number, a number which cannot be written in the form of p by q. A number which cannot be written in the form of p by q are called as irrational numbers. As simple as that. Other than that, number which we cannot write in the form of numerator and denominator and in terms of terminating decimal. So decimals will have non-terminating, non-repeating. Decimal expansion for irrational number is non-terminating, non-repeating, in which it will ask. As of now, that is, if you understood, well and good. If you not, just leave it. So first question from this series is root 3 plus root 5. Root 3 plus root 5 is irrational, we have to prove. So in this method, in order to prove these questions as irrational, we have to go by contradictory method. Contradictory method means, first what do we have to do? We have to consider that this number is a rational number. We have to consider that this number is a rational number. If we consider that as a rational number, then we can write it in the form of p by q. Any number which can be written in the form of p by q are called as rational number. This is the basic thing which you all know. So first we'll consider this number to be a rational number. Then by solving at some point or the other, we will prove it wrong. That is not, the assumption that we have considered is not correct. What did we consider? That the number is rational. That is not correct, which means number is irrational. I'll repeat once again. This is quite confusing. See, first of all, what we do, we'll take the number and we'll consider that to be as rational. If that is rational, we can write it in the form of p by q. And while solving, at some point or the other, we will prove that we will contradict our assumption, which means the one which we considered is not right. Not right, which means it is not correct. This indicates that our assumption is wrong. Our assumption is wrong. In the sense, what did we assume? We assume that the number is rational. That is wrong, which means number is irrational. That is a criteria which we use in order to prove the number as irrational. Chalo, let us start. Root 3, let us assume or consider, let us assume that root 3 plus root 5 is rational. If it is a rational number, we can write that as p by q. Root 3 plus root 5 is equal to p by q. What should be the speciality of p and q? P and q should be integers. P comma q are integers and q should not be equal to 0. This is what it is. Next, now while solving this, all you have to remember is you have to make sure that one number is left on the left hand side, and all the numbers should be transferred to the right hand side, and the one which is left over the left hand side should be a number containing root. All the remaining numbers should be without root. So now a root number, root 2 is equal to x, for example, whatever it is. So now root 2, inside the root, if there is a number and that is not a perfect square, which means it is irrational number. Again, inside the root, a number is there which is not a perfect square. It means that the number is an irrational number. So root 2 is irrational, root 3 is irrational, root 4 is not irrational, because root 4 can be written as 2 square, square root gets cancelled 2. 2 by 1 I can take in the denominator, 2 by 1 p by q form mein likh diyo usko. Then any number which can be written in the p by q form, it is rational. So root 4 is a rational number, not an irrational number. Likewise, root 5, root 6, root 7, root 8, all of these numbers are irrational numbers. Root 9 is a rational number. How? Root 9, 9 can be written as 3 square, square root gets cancelled, we'll have 3. If I take 1 in the denominator, 3 by 1, p by q, rational. So bottom line of this is, any number which is written inside the root and it is not a perfect square, then it is an irrational number. Number which is written inside the root and it is a perfect square is a rational number. So now a rational number and irrational number cannot be the same. One rational number cannot be equal to another irrational number. Suppose if I take a root 2 is equal to 5, this is not true. This can't be written in this way, because root 2 is an irrational number, 5 is a rational number. Irrational and rational cannot be equal, right? So that is what we are going to do here. While solving this problem, all we have to remember is, we have to make sure that one root number is there on the left hand side. All the numbers should be there on the right hand side. On the left hand side we have irrational number, on the right hand side we have rational number, and one irrational number and rational number cannot be equal, which means our assumption is incorrect. What was our assumption? We assume that it is a rational, which is incorrect. It means that the number is irrational. That's how we are going to prove it. Now see, root 3 plus root 5, in order to remove the roots, I already told you we have to do squaring on both sides. Square it on both sides. Root 3 plus root 5 whole square is equal to p by q whole square. Root 3 plus root 5 whole square, a plus b whole square, a square plus b square plus 2ab is equal to p square by q square, is equal to p square by q square. Square root gets cancelled. 3 plus 5 is equal 3 plus 5 plus 2, root 3 into root 5 is root 15, is equal to p square by q square. Now all our focus at this point should be on root 15, because that number alone is the root number. Apart from that, all the other numbers are without root, which means they are rational, and root 15 alone is irrational. So now what did I say? We have to make sure that irrational number is on one side, all the numbers should be on other side. So by this, what are we doing? We are proving that an irrational number and a rational number cannot be equal. We contradict our assumption. What was our assumption? We considered that to be a rational. It is wrong. That means the number is irrational. Chalo. 3 plus 5, it is 8 plus 2 root 15 is equal to p square by q square. 2 root 15 is equal to p square by q square minus 8. By 1 I'll take and I'll do a cross multiplication. 2 root 15 is equal to p square into 1, p square minus 8 into q square, 8q square by q square into 1, q square. I hope you know how to solve two fractions. Now root 15 only we have to get. 2 is there. 2 if I send it this side, it will become, 2 is in multiplication. If I send it, it will become division. So here root 15 is equal to p square minus 8q square by p square minus 8q square divided by 2 is in multiplication. If I send it, it will become division, 2q square. Yeah, completed. That is what we wanted to prove. No, we wanted to get a root number one side, and apart from root, all the other numbers should be one side. Root 15, irrational, not a perfect square, it is irrational. P square minus 8q square by 2pq, whatever it is, be it p or q, whatever it is, but that is a rational number. An irrational number and rational number cannot be equal. That is what we have to write. Here we have to write few statements. These statements might not look very easy for you, but trust me, remember in the first video, first sum, in all the sums it will be repeated again and again for all the 9 sums. So root 15 on left hand side is irrational. The same way, first one completed. Next, p square minus 8q square by 2q square on right hand side is rational. this contradicts our assumption. This contradiction has arisen? No, this contradiction has arisen because of our wrong assumption. This contradiction has arisen because of our wrong assumption. This contradiction, an irrational number and rational number looking equal, this contradiction has arisen because of our wrong assumption. What did we assume? We assumed that number might be rational, but that is not true, which means number is irrational. Therefore, root 3 plus root 5 is irrational. This is how we prove. Now, let us jump on to the second question of this type. Same question, just different numbers. Let us prove that root 3 plus root 2 or root 2 plus root 3. In some textbooks it is written like this. In all the textbooks it is written like this. What is it? Example 10. According to textbook it is example 10. Root 3 plus root 2. Example 10. Chalo. Let us assume that root 3 plus root 2 is rational. So which means root 3 plus root 2 can be written in the form of p by q, where p and q are integers and q should not be equal to 0. Same step, squaring on both sides. Root 3 plus root 2 whole square is equal to p by q whole square. A plus b whole square. Root 3 square plus root 2 square. A square plus b square plus 2ab. 2 root 3 root 2. A square plus b square plus 2ab is equal to p square by q square. Square root gets cancelled. 3 plus 2 plus 2 root 3 to 6. 2 root 6 is equal to p square by q square. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 2 root 6 is equal to p square by q square. Plus 5, 5 transfer that side, it will become minus 5. 2 root 6 is equal to p square by q square minus 5. Again the same method. What is our main intention here? We have to get a root number at one side, and apart from root all the other numbers should be transferred to the other side. That is what I am doing here. Now if I do a cross multiplication here, 2 root 6 is equal to p square into 1, p square minus 5q square divided by q square. So here root 6 is equal to p square minus 5q square by this 2 will come here and it will become 2q square. The same way, root 6 on LHS is irrational. P square minus 5q square by 2q square on RHS is rational. That is what we have to write. I am not writing the entire part. I am just removing this number. I have this leverage because I am writing on board, but you have to write it. Now, what is there on LHS? Root 6. Root 6 on LHS is irrational, and p square minus 5q square by 2q square. P square minus 5q square by 2q square on RHS is rational. This contradiction has arisen because of a wrong assumption. What was our assumption? We assumed that root 3 plus root 2 is rational, which is wrong. That means the number is irrational. Like I told you, all you have to do, if you completed the first sum in 15 minutes, second sum will be solved within 5 minutes. That's how it is. You have to pay complete attention to the first sum. First sum is the main sum. There you will know all the basics. So all these three questions from the first type I told, no? 2 questions are completed. One more question. Array, why did I erase this array? P and Q, no? Third question, we have to prove root P plus root Q. Root P plus root Q as irrational. Root P plus root Q as irrational. Let us see how it goes. ये भी रेस करना था ना भाई. चलो, which question it is? Root P plus root Q. Second question, 14.2, question number 14. अरे 1.4 1.4 में क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 वी हैव टू प्रूव दैट रूट p plus root q. I hope you guys can see this. Let me check. Yeah. So it is root p plus root q is irrational. We have to prove. Now solution. Same thing we have to do. However, in the previous case it was numbers. Now here it is variable. So now while considering that number to be a rational, we took variable as p and q. Here we'll change that p and q with a and b. Because p and q, the number itself is p and q. We are assuming that and writing in p and q, p q पूरा पी क्यू बन जाता क्लमजी हो जाता कुछ और वेरिएबल 26 बना के कहना इंग्लिश के वेरिएबल दो में कई को अटकना सो लेट अस assume that root p plus root q is rational. पहले ये समझ के चलेंगे कि root p plus root q is rational. If it is rational, we can write it in the form of something numerator by denominator. Root p plus root q is equal to a by b. A by b. What should be the nature of a and b? A and b should be a comma b should be integers, and b should not be equal to 0. Denominator 0 हो जाएगा, infinity हो जाएगा. That's why b should not be equal to 0. Right. Squaring on both side. Squaring on both side. Root p plus root q whole square is equal to a by b whole square. A plus b whole square. A square root p square q square root q square b square plus 2ab 2 root p root q. A square plus b square plus 2ab is equal to a square by b square. Square root get cancel. P plus q plus 2 root pq. 2 root pq is equal to a square by b square, and plus pq, if I transfer it to the other side, it will become minus 2 root pq is equal to a square by b square minus p minus q. What did I say? The same way, all our focus should be on root p and root q, because that alone is irrational. Apart from that, all the other are rational. Irrational okachotu, rational okachotu, and irrational and rational cannot be equal. The same way. चलो क्या किया जाए let us take LCM. Divided by 1 2 root pq is equal to b square is the LCM, a square minus b square p minus b square q. Alrighty, 2 is pareshani doing. If I send it this side, it will become division, because here it is multiplication. Root pq is equal to a square minus b square p minus b square q divided by 2b square. 2 into b square, 2b square. So the number which is there on LHS, on RHS you might be thinking what is this a sir, a b square p, what is this sir बोल के समझ रहे होंगे, but that is what it is. Whatever it is, b p q, whatever it is, all those are rational. All those are rational. Only the root number is irrational. Root pq is irrational. Apart from that, everything else is rational. So that's why it is like this. Root pq on the LHS is irrational. This all is irrational. That is what we have to write. What is it? On the left hand side we have root pq on LHS is irrational. This entire term a square minus b square p minus b square q divided by 2b square on RHS is rational. So this contradiction has arisen because of our wrong assumption. What was the wrong assumption? That we considered it to be rational, which is wrong. That means it is irrational. Therefore, root p plus root q is irrational. Now there are different methods to solve this question. You might feel like, in my school classwork, this is not the answer which I've got, sir. It is this, sir. It is this, sir. All we have to do is prove irrational. If we send before squaring on both sides, if we send one term to the other side, the answer might look quite different. But the only one thing which will be same is, on left hand side you will have a root number, on right hand side you will have a without root number. That is what the main catch of this sum. So now by this we completed. The first type of question. Second type of questions are pretty easy. First, if you paid complete attention and understood these questions, second type of questions will be a cakewalk for you. What were the second type of questions? It was related to one root number and another number is without root. First question I will take as 6 plus root 2. 6 plus root 2. This is actually the question 1.4 लो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन लो थर्ड बिट 1.4 में फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन में थर्ड बिट है 1.4 फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन third bit according to the textbook. However, according to our set of questions which we have segregated, this is the fourth question and second type of question. चलो right, same कथा क्या है 6 plus root 2 is 6 plus root 2. Let us assume, let us consider, let us assume that, what is our assumption, that 6 plus root 2 is irrational. बराबर 6 plus root 2 is irrational. If that is irrational, we can write it in the form of p by q. Same story. 6 plus root 2 is equal to p by q. What should be p and q? P comma q are integers. P comma q are integers and q should not be equal to 0. Right. From here, what was our main motive in the previous previous three set of questions? We have to get a root one side and all the remaining numbers to the other side. For that purpose, we had to do squaring on both sides and get rid of multiple roots, two roots, and get rid of two roots and get one root. मतलब दो root जहाँ थे वो खत्म करके we got one root. So here in this case it is already done. Only one root is there. Apart from one root, all the other numbers are non-root. The numbers which does not have a root. So which means they are rational. This root 2 is only irrational. I'll put it one side. No need of squaring on both sides. Root 2 is equal to p by q minus 6 plus 6. If I transfer it to the other side, it becomes minus 6 divided by 1. Cross multiply. Root 2 is equal to p into 1 p minus q into 6 6q by q into 1 q. That's all. Completed. Here you have to write root p के bq के जगह पे all you have to write is root 2 on LHS is irrational. P minus 6q by q. P minus 6q by q on RHS is rational. P minus 6q by q on RHS is rational. This contradiction has arisen because of our wrong assumption. Therefore 6 plus root 2 is irrational. Completed. I told you now, first question only you have to pay attention. Apart from that, all the questions will be like a cakewalk. Let us move on to the second question of second type of question. Second question of second type of question. Funny yani. Fifth bit in the same question. 1.4 question number 1. Fifth bit. 1.4 first question में fifth bit. It is 3 plus 2 root 5. 3 plus 2 root 5. And as per our set of questions, it is the fifth one, I believe. Yes, fifth one. Second question in the second type of question. Alrighty. Chalo, solution. What is it? Let us assume that 3 plus 2 root 5 is irrational. 3 plus 2 root 5 is irrational. Irrational. Let us assume that 3 plus 2 root 5 is, my bad, is rational. If that is rational, we can write it in the form of p by q. 3 plus 2 root 5 is equal to p by q. What should be p and q? P comma q are integers and q should not be equal to 0. राइट 2 रूट 5 रूट का नंबर एक जगह, बाकी के सारे नंबर्स एक जगह. कितने की बार बोल दिया अभी तक? 2 रूट 5 इज इक्वल टू p बाई क्यू माइनस 3. क्रॉस मल्टीप्लाई. 2 रूट 5 इज इक्वल टू p माइनस 3q बाई 1 टू दिस साइड. नॉट 1 q इंटू 1 q. सो रूट 5 इज इक्वल टू p माइनस 3q बाई 2q. सेम रूट 5 on LHS is irrational. P minus 6q by P minus 6q की जगह P minus 3q by q की जगह 2q on RHS is rational. This contradiction has arisen because of our wrong assumption. What was our wrong assumption? That it is rational. It is incorrect, which means the number is irrational. 3 plus 2 root 5. 3 plus 2 root 5 is irrational. this is how it was. Now one last question from this type of questions. Without wasting time, we'll start it off. What is the last one? It is 5 minus root 3. 5 minus root 3. It is a question number. Actually, it is example 8. Example 8. Example 8, and as per our set of questions, it is question number 6. Question number 6. Now you must be wondering, sir, you told that you will make us do only important questions and you are only doing all the 9 questions including examples. You must be wondering. So now my way of telling is, see, these are all similar questions. No, these are all similar questions. If you solve, at least if you understood in the first question of this type, then you can skip the other questions. YouTube is ना भाई, double tap कर लेके आगे बढ़ जाओ. Go for the next type of questions. So my way of understanding, my way of taking the things is, I'll consider about those people who will have a little confusion. They'll understand while looking at the question, they'll understand. However, if the same type of question, if the numbers are changed, they'll get quite confused. Upload करके रख देता हूँ. You give it a try. If you're already getting it without saying, well and good, it will be a good practice for you also. Yeah. So this is the last question. I'll end up this video here. 5 minus root 3. Same story. Let us assume that 5 minus root 3 is rational. 5 minus root 3 is rational. So if it is rational, we can write that as 5 minus root 3 is equal to P by Q. What should be P and Q? P comma Q are integers. P comma Q are integers and Q should not be equal to 0. Right. 5 minus P by Q is equal to root 3. Anything wrong here? Minus root 3 था, यहाँ पर आ गया, it will become plus. Plus P by Q, if I send this side, it will become minus. So that way. Do cross multiplication. Q into 5 Q minus 1 into P by 1 into Q is equal to root 3. Same, just write it in the reverse way. Root 3 is equal to 5Q minus P by Q. इसको इधर लिख दिया बस यहाँ. Right, same story. Root 3 on LHS. Root 3 on LHS is irrational. 5Q minus P by, what is that? 5Q minus P by Q on RHS is rational. This contradiction has arisen because of a wrong assumption. Therefore, 5 minus root 3 is irrational. I hope you understood the video. If you have any doubts, leave a comment. Next video में मैं इसको cover कराता हूँ. Till then, all the best.